one of the biggest lies I think that exists is that other people have it figured out. And the reality is that none of us do. We're just surviving from day to day with more and more information.
Listen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your man Kyle Price, but I'm KP because we're all friends now, and I am here with the star of Reasonable Doubt. We are currently in season 2, Mr. McKinley Freeman. How you feeling today?
I'm doing well, man. Star is a very loose term. I am one of many amazing people on the cast that hopefully people will love the stories that we get to tell this season.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, you in season 2. Hopefully, we're getting season 3 soon as well. All right, so I
I
mean,
mean, listen, bro, from your lips to God's ears. I don't know how that works with algorithms and streamings, but man, that would be nice. I think I think this season is there's a lot in store for fans of the show, and I'm praying that we get the opportunity to keep that train moving for sure.
okay, absolutely. I speak in absolute, so season 3 is already an absolute. I
Okay,
love
all
this
right,
show,
let's get
so
it.
so it's all out there. So tell me, your ride on the show. Like, how has it been experiencing everybody on the cast? Like you said, there's a lot of stars on the show, but you get a lot of screen time. So
Yeah,
star too.
I think the show I think is a special one, and I think just with as a person that doesn't really pay attention to outcomes, I just mean in the beginning. I think when you shop and if you're gonna make a good dinner, you get the best ingredients, and I think starting with at the very top, you got Ramla Muhammad as the showrunner creator with I mean, she's a genius on her own. Working with, she wrote for, Shonda. She How to Get Away. Like when it comes to story, she's fantastic. And then coupling her with someone with the experience of a Kerry Washington, Larry Wilmore, and the great producers, and then you have Emiyati Coronality, who's a force by herself. You know what I mean? And then you start talking about Morris Chestnut and stuff like that. And once you start getting down the list, we start creating a world that hopefully that's pretty compelling. But I think ultimately it always comes down to the specifics of the words. I think Rama did a great job of we have all black writers room, all black directors. So when you comes to making things, you get speaking shorthand definitely helps, especially when you're on time crunches with budgets and everything like that. So hopefully we've made the most of the canvas for sure.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you're amongst the stars. There's a whole constellation and everything. So I'm sure you're feeling like the love from everybody. I know personally, my auntie was excited when I told her I was coming on here with you because she watches the show, and I'm like, all right, let me get into it. I get to talk to them. So how has the reception been with the audience, the people that have watched the show? Like, are they receiving it?
Yeah, I think the reception at first of all, I think fans of this show are super passionate. I think if you think about it, the show came out in 2022, so here we are,
Mhm.
2 years later with people with undiluted opinions about everything, which is amazing. So when you start adding these new pieces, episode 1 and 2, of course, and fortunate to have 7 more episodes after that to kind of 8 more episodes actually to really kind of dive home. But the fun part for me in shooting the show is like I take my time with the scripts,
Mhm.
but some people read ahead, so it's gonna be interesting to see if some of the things that I learned along the way while we were shooting it are reflected in other people, which I think is gonna be fun. But yeah, I'm excited about for folks that are fans of the show, and very grateful to have the opportunity after a strike and everything else to kind of come back and be such a part of such a talented group of people for sure.
Okay, your impact is rubbing off on everybody. I saw a previous interview of yours that you went kind of method with this new season because your character is currently in couples counseling after a drama-filled
Right.
season and everything. And at first, I love that about the show because I need to see more black couples in therapy working it out. Like, hopefully not as a dramatic scenario, but like just black couples going through therapy and trying to work it out. How important was it to be very method and very in the moment and involved with therapy with when channeling your character?
Yeah, I think the one thing specifically that I would say is that and that one part, because I think therapy is an opportunity for a conversation with a mediator almost. Maybe there's times you can maybe there's times you feel a person feels more comfortable saying things with with an unbiased opinion in the room. But I think for me, when it relates to Lewis, there was something very specific about how does a married person with kids, how does one go about reconciling the way forward with that? So I just spent a lot of time really trying to figure out, and also just kind of doing my own kind of study just in terms of the almost the steps of recovery, if it will, because it's like, for a while Lewis was living which would be approximated maybe a fool's paradise where everything that he thought was real wasn't at some level. So it's like, how does one figure out a way forward in a world that's always constantly changing with a spouse as dynamic as Jack? So it's really interesting. And I think to me, the conversations that I have at TSA or the grocery store, or brothers be like, man, that show, it's the reason why that stuff is important because um being able to see folks that look like you in therapy that aren't perfect but are still trying to figure out how to make it work. I think it's important for that for sure.
Right. Your impact once again. Wow. I mean, it's large. Has that translated into your personal life? Like, your research in therapy and like how you approach roles differently, how you approach life differently. How has that affected you?
I won't say it's affected me. I think first and foremost, I had to ask and answer those questions for myself before I could be an effective creative person. So for me, I like to make sure that I'm honest about how I go about my life and the choices that I make and what I choose that inspires me. But like, only then, if I can be honest with myself, can I be honest about the perspective that I'm being asked to step into. Um, but yeah, I think ultimately for me, it's about accountability. I think if I can be accountable for what I know and more so even what I don't know, that at least that's the beginning of a that's the beginning of at least a pathway forward.
Okay.
So I don't know, man. I feel like the life is gonna go up and down, but you can kind of just make the most of it if you kind of slow it down a little bit and pray and all those things. So
Be still, be still. That's where you find all the answers. But
that's right.
switching
That's
gears
absolutely
just
right.
a little bit because we're with quintessential
Okay,
gentlemen. So it's all style and all this. Your
let's
personal
go.
style, like your personal style versus your character style. Like, how do they differ? Like, what kind of approaches do you take when you're dressing yourself versus going for Lewis the character?
All right, so when it comes to Lewis the character, first of all, like I think Lewis as a character, just like Emiyachi's character. I mean, like you got castmates like Morris and Emiyachi and Angela Grovey and Tim Joe. Like, man, you could put them in anything, and no matter what they're wearing, they're gonna look like supermodels in a corridor boy. So I think a lot of it is just the strength that they bring to the screen as talented people. But for me, as it relates to Lewis, a lot of it is just about recognizing that there's no real set way beyond the way that individual chooses to dress. But I think being a software developer, there's some casualness to it. There's a curiosity, a playfulness to some of the shirts and stuff like that. But for McKinley, personally, like, bruh, simple is better. Like, I'm not trying to spend all day. I'm not trying to iron. I got one of them little steam things. Like, that's the extent of it, bro. Black shirt, black pants, maybe some white shoes. That's it. I don't, I'm not. The one thing I won't do is I won't be spending a bunch of money on stuff that I can't reuse because ultimately the beneficiaries are my nephews and my cousins, so they're happy about it. But my thing is like simpler is better.
I love that. It's like I love that, and I'm also team steamer too. Like it gets in there.
Yeah,
With
yeah, bro. Listen,
that iron
what,
can. I'm
what,
telling you.
listen, bro. That mug go with me everywhere. I don't even like. I'm not an ironer, bro. You want to see somebody ruin some clothes? You ask me to do that.
And the crazy part is my grandmother used to be a seamstress, so she used to like teach me how to iron and everything too. I'm like, nah, just give me a steamer and just let's go about my day. But
Fact.
okay, so
Yeah,
simple is
bro.
better for you. So what is one essential piece that you have in your closet? One thing that you know is going to stand out every time you wear it.
Um, man, man. Like I don't know. I'm real big on like getting things that I wanted to hold on to. I have this really cool Emporio Armani suit jacket that has a hoodie on it that for some reason when I saw it, I was like, "Oh yeah, I got it." So I've had that for a while. That's like the thing where I'm like, "Yo, I'm so glad I copped that." But other
Mm,
than that, man, I think it's cool to have different pieces in a wardrobe that you can mix and match.
mm.
As I'm sure you can attest to, like, but a good jacket is cool. I think yeah, bro, like a good jacket and a good pair of jeans. Like you can't go wrong with a good solid pair of comfortable jeans.
Yeah, because you can always work around that. Like you can make anything.
Exactly, exactly, with the
Dress it up, dress it
t-shirts, I can
down.
throw on a fedora, like, anything is possible, like, trust me, I've learned folks like yourself, and I've learned so much from different, like different wardrobe stylists over different jobs, whether it be our kind of people or Derica Cole was great.
Mm,
But just these different jobs where you just get a chance to be like, yo, where does one find this shirt? You know what I
right.
mean? So it's just you can learn a lot. Like I said, we talked about earlier about just a chance to collaborate with really creative people. And there are people in this business that are like geniuses at fashion. And
Mm,
I'm not gonna have the time to even remember what they've forgotten. So I just learned, you know what I mean? When it comes to all that stuff, it's just really curious. It's really cool to like see how passionate people are about the things that that they're passionate about. So I learned, you know.
I would say, wait a minute, hold on. You was looking at my IG page? I was like, you got my some
Well,
fashion.
listen, let me tell
I
you
was like,
something,
wait
bro. I
a minute,
already know
hold
you
on.
keep it fly, bro. Let me tell you something. They don't call you KP for nothing. I know you stay fly, bro. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah,
Like I
period,
don't
period,
want no
period, period.
problems.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
Like, This is
wow,
this
my
is
impact.
my this is my suit jacket right here. This black
Oh,
shirt, bro. This is what I
okay.
got.
Yeah, you know what? I
But
think.
here's the thing though,
Uh,
cats like yourself on your Instagram or even with how you put different things together. That's how, maybe brothers that may not be as fashion forward start being like, oh, maybe I can rock the tan, with the tan corduroy shoes with the hat. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
like I appreciate that for sure.
yeah, absolutely. And I think towards your sentiment, it's like, all right, whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever you feeling that day. Like the shirt I wore this weekend, it was an old shirt that I just cut up, and it looks like something completely different. So just like taking
See, but
risks, like
that's my thing, bro. Like my thing is KP, that's my thing though, is like I'm not cutting up shirts, but if you should cut up, I'm like, bro, what's up with the cut up shirt, man? You said, I got, to be able to do that again, it's a skill. Like I've got a cousin named Yule that's designed fashion for a long time,
Mm,
as well as some friends that are in the fashion space. And it's so interesting again, because everything's a canvas to a creative person. As you know, you're like, oh, you walk in the store, all this stuff starts coming together, you know. Not
yeah.
everybody can do that.
Yeah, I'm an Aquarius too, so like my mind be going crazy. So I'm like, all right, let me just
Now
try.
you're showing off, KP. Now I'm Aquarius. I got
It's
you know
not.
what I'm saying?
This ain't even about me, but we are going. You want to
So
keep it
KP, tell
going?
me more. So when you first started your fashion, and I'm not, it's my
I'm
interviewing
about
you.
to
No,
say, don't put.
I'm
You
just
gonna
messing.
put this on me? I was like, all right, put me on the Hulu section next. But but
That's funny,
also
man.
something that you're very known for. And like, first of all, I've been a fan since Hit the Floor. So Derek Harmon, he's a legend in these parts. We also know Derek Harmon is known for the ripped body and the routines and everything. So how do you maintain
Right.
everything? Like, is it harder for you to like keep up? Do you feel any pressure to keep up? Like, how do you start
No,
that? What's your like routine?
I don't. My routine is I don't keep up. I don't worry about other folks, bro. I just worry about myself. And like my only competition is me and where I'm trying to go. I'm grateful for people when they succeed. Like I've got friends in the business that when they book jobs and stuff, like I'm the first to tell them congratulations. But for me, just in terms of it's more about the benefits mentally than it is physically. So it's like what version of myself is going to be what version of myself do I want to be a week from now, 2 days from now, a month from here, a year from now? But at the end of the day, that kind of comes into the fashion part because it's like it doesn't matter. Like that's the great thing about fashion, actually, is like no matter how an individual may be feeling on the inside, those clothes have the ability to begin to stir up something that can generate some confidence on the outside. But for me, it's kind of backwards where it's like, man, no matter what clothes I put on, if I don't know who I am and can stand on my own too, I can't, it doesn't really matter. So I start with that. And the things that help me maintain that mindset, like discipline and trying to stay on top of stuff, constantly challenging myself with hard things that I think are hard, but just get after it.
I love that. Inside out work. That's what they call it. I went to therapy too, so I'm like inside out work. We stress that.
See, man, we're coming full circle. Exactly.
See how we
Exactly.
did that? Like a great combo in full circle. All right. So personally, I like to talk to people. I like to give mantras. I love to see what people's mindsets are, to give nuggets before we go out of here. So, like, what's one thing that you tell yourself that you would like to share with the audience that to keep yourself motivated, to keep yourself going for people who are trying to like break in or keep it consistent and do what they.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest lies I think that exists is that other people have it figured out. And the reality is that none of us do. We're just surviving from day to day with more and more information. So I
Right.
would say that like when things get difficult, it's not because we're incapable. It's just because life has its ebbs and flows, and some of them are more difficult than others. But
Mm,
I think that learning to be able to find some sense of calm in the midst of the storm that you can control through discipline or through balance or whatever the case may be. I think that's really that could be the arc that saves you that you don't know that you need, So I would just say like holding yourself accountable for the things that you know you need to do and being open to new things at the same time, but definitely know what your job is every day.
Absolutely. All right. I'm gonna leave you on one too. Everything is figure outable. Like whatever the situation is, you can figure it
That's
out.
facts.
Whether you take it a day at a time or a month at a time or whatever, everything is figure outable. So we're gonna figure out how to get you to season three, how to get the show going. We're gonna get you out here. We're gonna
Let's
get
get
you.
it.
We're gonna get you fly, all that. But thank you so much
Hey,
for
listen, man, let me tell you something, bro. Our when it comes to being fly and it comes to the fashion advice, I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry I missed you guys in New York. Hopefully we get a chance to like catch up and do a shoot there, but I definitely appreciate the time for sure.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Everything's figure outable. We'll get to it when we get to it. It's all kismet.
That's right. Maya
Absolutely.
Angelou says that every storm runs out of rain, bro. So at the end of the day, it's just a matter of time. You can't force clouds to move no faster either. So it just kind of is what it is.
Exactly. You gave me
You
two
know.
nuggets for one today. That's perfect. Look.
Let's go. Let's go.
All
All
right.
right,
Thanks,
appreciate you,
everybody. Have
brother.
a great day.